Welcome to Between the Shelves, the premier Sable Library podcast. I'm your host, Alex, and this week I am joined by Kristina from Adult Services. Welcome,
Hello.
Kristina.
I didn't expect to be introduced first based on the seating arrangement.
And first-timer joining us this episode is Keith.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure, thanks. And get right up on that mic, Keith.
I will try.
And you might know Keith from The Makery, where he is our 3D printing whiz right now. So come in and give him a shout out and test his skills on the 3D print. And stepping in as a last minute fill-in, but we're happy to have her, my co-host with the most hostness, Tory.
It's me, the pinch hitter.
You're like the David Ortiz of podcasting.
If only I understood that.
Yeah. That probably, I don't even know if he's a pinch hitter, so that reference might just not make it into the episode.
We need a fact checker at the end of every episode.
I think we might have to delete all of every episode if we had a fact checker.
We might have to redo this intro.
Yeah. Oh no, this is good.
This is all.
This is good.
We need a behind the scenes episode eventually.
You know, we're going to run out of material eventually, and yeah, we're going to have to do, like they do in like every sitcom, they just do a flashback episode.
All the cut material, the stuff that...
Every other episode was a dream, and we start from the beginning and do it all the episodes over again in the exact same way.
Yeah, we're going to reboot the entire series, but it's going to be darker and grittier.
It's already pretty dark and gritty.
So welcome to our Pride Month episode. We're going to be talking about some recommendations we have. I have a couple of books, but I'm sure we have some other stuff to talk about from LGBTQ plus creators. So let's just get into it. No more delaying, no more bits.
No more faffing about.
No more faffing about. Who wants to go first?
Jokes have left the room.
Jokes have left the room. We're talking Pride Month now.
Serious business.
I'm going to go first. So last year, no more bits. Let's get to this, people. So last year, during our Pride Month episode last year, I think I talked about Another Country by James Baldwin. This year, I'm going to be talking about another James Baldwin book, Go Tell It on the Mountain. It's his first novel. It was published in 1953, and much like his other novels, it's semi-autobiographical. It's split into several parts. Each part of the book follows different members of the Grimes family. The central to the plot is John Grimes, who's a young black teen growing up in Harlem in the 1930s. He's raised by his mother, Elizabeth, and an abusive stepfather, Gabriel, who's a local preacher. Although it's not explicitly stated in the book, John is kind of grappling with romantic thoughts he's having for another boy in his church, and this is coming into sharp conflict with his spiritual upbringing in the church. So this is sort of based off James Baldwin's actual life. His father was a preacher and abusive, and James Baldwin grappled with his spiritual journey his entire life, and that's sort of the central theme of this book. But the novel itself, it's plotted and structured in a very interesting way for a book written in this time. It kind of bounces. First of all, the whole book takes place in one day, but there's a series of flashbacks throughout the story that kind of you learn more about each member of the families, like how they came to where they are. So Gabriel, the father, you have flashbacks of him growing up in the South, where he was kind of leading a debaucherous life, and he found God and moved to New York after his illegitimate son was murdered. So that's like a very interesting, maybe like quarter of the book is just telling that story from Gabriel. And then it will flash back to Elizabeth, John's mother, how she moved to New York. And a lot of James Baldwin's books, if you're familiar with James Baldwin, they have a lot to do with race relations. Obviously, the 1940s wasn't great. So we learned that like Elizabeth, her husband was murdered by police. There's like basically he was like mistakenly identified for a robbery he didn't commit, whole ordeal. So she flees basically to New York and meets Gabriel. So we kind of learn about how they come together. It's a very, really interesting book. It's fascinating, well written. Obviously, it's James Baldwin. He's a brilliant prose. It's on the top 100 novels of all time list by the Modern Library and Time ranked it up there, and I think 39th and 63rd, respectively. Yeah, I love James Baldwin. This was the last of his novels that I read, and it's great, so I highly recommend it. Go Tell It on the Mountain.
I've never read any James Baldwin, but what struck me about the whole description that you just gave is how timeless everything that you said happens in the book is. Like the themes of the race relations and police brutality and abusive parents and struggling with spirituality versus your sexuality are all things that people still struggle with now. And you find a lot of like young adult books with all of those themes, and it's just interesting to see how much changes and how much stays the same.
Yeah, his writing, his fiction writing and his nonfiction writing is timeless, unfortunately. There's a great documentary about James Baldwin, I Am Not Your Negro, that dives into all of his writing and how timeless it is and how it's still relevant today. And then there's a great documentary, or book rather, that came out a few years ago that centers around James Baldwin's debates with William F. Buckley that took place in the 60s about race relations and everything, and that's really fantastic as well. And I think they made a documentary about the book, or vice versa. So those are all worth checking out as well. I'll put them in the show notes if you're interested. I think the library has all of them. Yeah, that's my first recommendation. And now I'm out of James Baldwin books to talk about on, so next year I'm going to have to come up with somebody else.
Can I ask what made you end with the first of his work?
I don't know, honestly. I just kind of picked them based off, what I was feeling at the moment. So, I can't believe the names are escaping me right now, but no, I read Giovanni's Room last year. That's what I talked about. That was really, really good. I would say this book is, I don't know. It just kind of, whatever floats by my mind to read at the time. But yeah, this one's definitely worth checking out.
Very cool.
Thank you. Who wants to go next?
Kristina, what have you got for us today?
What have I got? Okay. So I have a book called Faebound by Saara El-Arifi, which follows an elven warrior raised on the battlefield and her sister that get exiled from their home, and they accidentally get trapped in like a really scary fae court.
Oh, the classic fae court.
This isn't like the classic fae courts of like Sarah J. Maas, and in it, the main character Yiren falls in love with like the fae queen there, and it was just a fun, different take on sort of the fae romantasy books. It wasn't like it was meaner, I guess, which is saying a lot. It felt a lot more grounded, too. All of the characters felt real. They had different motivations for doing things that were interested. Like, they're trying to get back to their home, and the Fae Court is trying to stay secret, but also they have other plans because they can't stay secret forever because, like, they have other stuff going on. You don't get a lot of queer romantasy books. Those tend to be aggressively heterosexual. So it was interesting to read that kind of take on it.
When you say it's meaner, do you mean the characters to each other or the world like is darker and grittier?
I think the world. So the world's you're sort of dropped in where the elves are in this like years-long war with another enemy, and their entire lifestyle is based on that war. So then when the main character does something that they don't like and they kick her out, it's like she has literally nothing else to live for at that point because she's been fighting this war her whole life.
Is it a series or is it a standalone?
I do believe it will be a series, but only the first book is out so far.
Romantasy has to be a series. It's like it's the law.
Yeah.
It seems like an interesting take on what usually goes on with a romantasy, where you get like the beginning romance and world building, and then slowly the sinister thing that they need to work on makes itself known, like at the end of the first book.
Yeah.
And then now there's a big fairy war that you have to deal with, but dropping in the middle of it is sort of refreshing, I guess.
Yeah, the whole book was kind of refreshing in terms of romanticing.
You know I'm burned out on romantasy, so I think I will have to read this one.
Maybe this will reignite the spark.
Maybe.
The spark that reignites your romantasy
Flame.
Thank you for finishing my metaphor.
Maybe. It sounds cool.
I've never read a romantasy book, but maybe this might be the one that gets me into it.
The romantasy episode is upcoming now. Now it's been added to the
I shouldn't have
docket.
said anything. Well, Tori, would you like to go next?
Sure, I'll go next. I guess I'll continue the theme of books. I do have something else, but I'll start with a book. Mine is actually a novella that I read. Sometimes I get into like a reading rut where I just don't read anything for 8 months at a time, and I feel like novellas are a good way to ease your way back into the practice. So the one that I would like to recommend is called The Helios Syndrome by Vivian Shaw. It's 142 pages long, and the description is: Devin Stacy, a freelance necromancer, is contracted by the National Transportation Safety Board to investigate the accidents and crimes that stray into supernatural territory. When he's charged with looking into a plane that has gone missing mid-flight under unusual circumstances, he finds himself haunted by a dead pilot. Now another flight has the NTSB concerned. The pilots are unresponsive, and the plane keeps appearing and disappearing in the sky in different places. The clock is ticking until the plane's fuel runs out. Can Stacy find out what's going on and save the passengers from peril? What does the zombie pilot have to do with anything? And is Investigator Dooley really as fed up with Stacy as he seems? Or could there be something more?
Wow, that's a lot to fit into 140 pages.
Right? I'm very impressed when novellas are able to like do world building and character development and also have interesting plot all in the space of under 200 pages.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not often that it's done well, but this was done well.
It seems like it was like a fever dream from the author that she just like had to get out of her head.
It does seem like that. And there's a lot of discussion of like plane crashes and black boxes and investigations into that, because that's what the book is about. And I read it right before I was about to fly to Arizona, and I enjoyed it and tried to tell my coworkers about it at the airport, and they were like, no. we don't need to hear this right now. I was like, no, but it's good. But yeah, I do want to say it's very light on the romance. Like, it's sort of implied at the end, but in a way that I really wish the author would expand the world of this book. Like, I usually don't like series. I get tricked into reading them. I don't want more. 142 pages is really good to me, but I got to the end of this and I was like, okay, but what happens next?
Hooked you.
Yeah, and there has not been more. But the author did write a series, the Dr. Greta Helsing series, which I think, Kristina, you have read.
Very good.
Yes, so maybe that will sate my...
Like it's ripe for a TV adaptation or something.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's a great like premise for a show. Like paranormal investigator sort of stuff, mystery. I like all of that.
It feels very like in the vein of like a Kolchak the Night Stalker or the Dresden Files, kind of like you could insert the characters into a number of situations. In a TV show would be great, but if I want to slake my thirst for Vivian Shaw, I guess I'll have to read the Dr. Greta Helsing series. But yeah, that's my recommendation for a book.
Very cool.
Thanks. Keith, what do you got?
Very first recommendation, and I'm going to stay on the topic of recommending books.
It's Book Hour.
Yes, it is. This is a book that I grabbed off the shelf kind of impulsively because the main character was trans FTM like myself. And it was really, really interesting. Definitely recommend. It's called Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. And it takes place in, I believe it was Eastern LA. Yadria, our main character, his family and the entire culture worship something called the Lady of Death. They are very religious, and they have some type of a setup where the women or the men, the women and the men have their own set kind of things that they do with this. Women are mostly healers, they deal with the living, whereas the men deal with people who had already passed on. They help the spirits move to the afterlife if they're stuck in the world. And since being trans, he's stuck in this very, very problematic system where his goals, his spirit, where he wants to be, just doesn't line up with his religion. Yet at the same time, it is something that is very near and dear to him. So he takes it upon himself. He's going to perform a ritual with him and his cousin to become one of these warrior religious men in his community. It does work, but there's a little twist. So what he had to do was summon a spirit, and he figured, let's summon my cousin who had recently passed away, and we're going to help him find his body and then move on. He summoned someone different, and he's kind of the almost macho boy in the high school, but as it turns out, he's kind of a sweetheart, and they get together very, very well.
I was hoping that that's where that was going.
Yes, and they are precious together. I really wish this novel was a lot longer because I would love to see them do their little sweet romances together a lot more than what was in there.
That's a cool concept. So,
It is.
so is it like a fantasy? Would you say? Like, I mean, it's a romantasy, right? And it's
Yeah.
Sort of like a paranormal romance, it sounds like. Because it's a YA book, right?
It's a
It
YA book,
is.
yeah.
okay.
It's interesting because they geared more towards the paranormal than the romance, but it just fit very, very well.
I feel like that's
It was a natural progression
Yes.
in the book of their relationship as they're
It's nice
working
when
out
the
the
romance
mystery.
comes naturally as a result of the story and characters rather than like shoehorning it in. As soon as you said Cemetery Boys, I was like, oh, I remember the cover of this and it looked so good. One of those judge a book by its cover, but it's good.
Well, it worked out in this case.
Yeah.
Seems like a very cool book.
And very cool how they, the author, it sounds like they took multiple identities of this character and had them discovering and accepting themselves in all aspects, like through their culture, the division of the gender roles in the culture, and also their gender expression. It's an interesting parallel, or a good way to express the parallel in a book. Interesting. That also sort of reminds me of a graphic novel series, The Witch Boy,
I was just thinking that.
by Molly Ostertag, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, about
Mentioned in the previous episode.
oh, well then I won't explain it, but it gives me the same vibe of
A similar premise.
yes. Also
I'll have
great
to check
use.
that one out.
Oh, it's really good.
It's like, I think there's 3 books in the series. It's very good.
About a boy who wants to be a witch, but in his culture only girls can be witches. But he really wants to be a witch, so he does. That's how I summarize that.
All right, Keith, thanks for sharing that. That sounds really cool. Cemetery Boys? Is that what it's
Yes,
called?
by Aidan Thomas.
Aidan Thomas, awesome. Well, you mentioned Ostertag, who's a graphic novelist, so I'm going to be moving on to graphic novels.
Great segue.
So thank you. My graphic novel recommendation is one I think almost all of us have read, and I'm pretty sure, Kristina, you've read this one. My favorite thing is Monsters by Emil Ferris. I hope none of you chose this to talk about.
I was hoping to choose the second one, but
Me too.
it's not ready yet.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. So
We're working on it.
part 2 just came out, or is about to come out at the time of us
yesterday.
recording it, after a 7-year wait. But I'm going to be talking about part 1. It's in the style, it's a graphic novel in the style of a journal, with like lined pages, and it's illustrated with ballpoint pen. So it like very much looks like it's like a young person's personal journal that
Giving
you're reading.
Amelia's notebook.
It's from the eyes of a 10-year-old girl named Karen, who's growing up in Chicago in the late 1960s. Karen spends her time alone, and she's obsessively drawing and watching monster movies and spending time with her upstairs neighbor, Anka, who's an elderly woman and Holocaust survivor. When Anka is murdered, Karen sets out to find the killer, imagining herself as a werewolf detective. Emil Ferris, the graphic novelist, explores basically like what constitutes a monster in the real world by kind of contrasting or differentiating like what are true monsters, like the people who committed a Holocaust or would murder an elderly woman, with the people that society deems as monsters that she sees herself as, i.e. the queer community in this book. So it's a very interesting like artistic choice that that Karen sees herself as a monster and illustrates herself as a monster in her journal as this werewolf creature. I don't think you ever really see her as a human, really, in the graphic novel, from what I remember. But the illustrations are immaculate. They're gorgeous. If you are familiar with R. Crumb, his art style, it's very reminiscent of that. Super, it's realistic but very stylized at the same time, if that makes any sense at all. But very, very detailed. It's an amazing look. And again, it's all done with ballpoint pen, so it's all cross-hatching, and it's in very solid colors too. So it's very... it looks very crude or homemade, but it's done by one of the best graphic novelists that's working right now. So it's immaculately drawn. It's a really wonderful style. It took Emil Ferris 6 years to write the book, and apparently it took another 6 years for the second part to come out. So I'm eagerly looking forward to reading part 2. I think if you liked the graphic novel Mouse, M-A-U-S, or Fun Home, which I talked about last year, you should definitely do yourself a favor and check out this graphic novel. I'd say it's one of the best, maybe ever. So that's My Favorite Thing is Monsters by Emil Ferris.
I have a graphic novel too. I have nothing to add.
Did you also enjoy the book?
I did enjoy the book. It's interesting. I think that the story of why the second one took so long to come out is interesting too. It's not coming out with her blessing, really. The publisher, she took the book back at some point, the manuscript, to do edits, and never gave it back. And the publishing company had to sue her to get it back based on her contract.
So it sounds like maybe there won't be a third one.
I think it was always planned. I believe it was always planned as to, but I think it was one of those things where it was never going to be up to her standards, so she kept wanting to revise it, and they kept being we have to put this out, you have a contract.
Well, I'm usually one to side with the artist, but I'm glad that there was a contract in place, otherwise we might never have get to see
because it was
part
supposed
2.
to come out a year later. It was supposed to come out almost immediately after the first one. Wow. Yeah. And then it kept getting pushed back and pushed back, but it was done at that point.
Wow. And these are long graphic novels, too.
Yes.
They're 300 plus pages. So that's amazing that it was done so quickly.
Was the author redrawing and editing during that whole intermediate period, do you know?
I think so. She deals with a chronic illness, I know, that affects the way she draws. So I imagine that had some impact on her taking so long to revise it.
Well, interesting. I look forward to reading part 2, and we'll see if it holds up.
I promise you will have it in your hands very soon.
We're just glaring at Tory.
I'll have it in my hands very soon.
There was a snafu, but we're getting it out to the people. Don't worry.
Okay.
As the first person on the holds list.
As the second person on the holds list, I'm looking at Kristina don't dilly-dally.
Keith, where are you on the holds list? Are you on?
I soon will be.
Oh, great.
That's the correct answer. All right, so that's my last recommendation. Kristina, what are you into? No, I'm sorry. What recommendation do you have?
What recommendation do I have? I have a whole bunch here. I'm going to talk about a different book. Mimicking of Known Successes by Malka Older. It is a space mystery. So an investigator teams up with her ex-girlfriend on an investigation because the ex-girlfriend has some experience in what the investigation is about. She's a scholar, and there's a scholarly person is murdered, and they work together to solve this mystery. And the whole book, they're both just pining for each other because they broke up because they both kind of wanted different... They dated in college. And, they got to the point where it was we kind of want different things. And then they meet up again, and they're like, but now it's fine. We want the same things. So it's a lot of them trying to stop the other one from being in danger and all kinds of crazy space conspiracies and stuff. It's very, very good.
Would you say this is like hard sci-fi, or is it pretty like out there sci-fi?
It
It seems like it's just like a murder mystery in space.
It's a murder mystery in space. There are elements of it that are not just like a set piece.
Like they go into some detail.
Yeah, they go into some detail, but it's definitely more of like a romance and a mystery that just happens to take place in space.
Sometimes that's all you need.
And there's 2 books in the series so far. And I assume there will be more. And they're also novellas, so they're very short.
Have you read both?
Yes.
Okay, maybe this is a spoiler, but I think I need to ask. So does the pining continue across both books, or they get together in the first book?
So some time passes between the 2 books, and like it at the end of the first one, you're like, oh yeah, they're probably together, I assume, but it's not like concrete. And then in the next book, they're like in an established relationship and have been dating for a little bit and trying to work out the kinks of the investigator works in like one section of like the space area they live in, and the scholar lives in another, so they're trying to like manage that because for some reason it's a big deal that they live in 2 different places.
Sectors,
and space
even.
Yeah, sectors, that's the word I was looking for.
I haven't read the book. I just assume if it's sci-fi that there are sectors.
There are sectors. Yeah.
So the whole book takes place in the same space station?
Yeah.
Is it like a...
You don't sound sure about that.
Well, I was more unsure about calling it a space station.
Space area.
Space. Yeah, I don't really know how to categorize it. Space colony, I guess.
Well, I asked, is it like a closed door mystery where there's like
No.
a parlor room like ending to it?
Or are they exploring around?
They're exploring around. There's a part where they like go to an uninhabited part of the colony.
Alright, so it's like a city basically in space. Okay.
Yeah.
Compound, perhaps?
I'm gonna go with space colony.
The specifics are
we need to get our
important.
terms
We need
right.
to know. But it sounds good. Romance plus sci-fi or fantasy
Yeah,
plus
like
novella.
all of my questions are sci-fi questions, and all of yours are like, are they still together at the end of it?
How deep is the pine?
How long are they pining?
It's deep. It's very deep.
It's good. And we can both perhaps enjoy the mystery part of it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Sounds fun.
Awesome.
I guess it's me again.
We're going in a weird order. Yeah, Tory.
We're going in a triangular pattern. Okay, so I'm going to break away from the books of it all. And my next thing is a stage performance, a musical that I saw last year that I really enjoyed. It's called Titanique, and it's written by Ty Blue, Marla Mindell, and Constantine Rusuli. And at the time that I saw it, Marla Mindell and Constantine Rusuli also starred in it. Technically, it is a jukebox musical, which I have said on record that I hate, but I did enjoy this one. So here is the description I would give for the show. During a routine tour of a Titanic museum exhibit, Celine Dion appears to set the tour guide straight about what really happened on that fateful night in 1912. She was there, and she's got the real tea about what went down along with the ship. Celine takes the audience on a wild ride through the plot of the Titanic movie, using more than a dozen of her hit songs to tell the doomed love story of Jack Dawson and Rose DeWitt Bukater with the help of Victor Garber, Patti LuPone, and Tina Turner. So it's very campy, and it's very, there's a lot of big belty singing, a lot of references to like pop divas and drag race, aspects of queer culture. But it's also really short. It's the novella of shows. It's an hour and 40 minutes long with no intermission. So you just sit and it smacks you in the face with Celine Dion. And it's very funny.
That's actually shorter than the Titanic movie.
Which is amazing because they fit it all in there. They've got it all. Including the iceberg. That I'm on top of the
How have
world.
I heard of this? I have heard of this before.
I may have spoken to you about it just in general.
Is there a podcaster that we both listen to that appeared in this show?
Oh, is there? I don't think so.
Like Mary Holland? Is she in it?
No.
Okay. I heard about this from another person that was not
Interesting.
you, and I thought it was a podcaster that was in it. Like one of our podcasters who also sings.
Nicole Parker.
Yes.
Yes, from The Neighborhood Listen.
Yes.
And also famously from Mad TV and Elphaba and Wicked. She took over the part of Celine Dion after Marla Mendel left last year. And they've had a lot of good, like, big Broadway voices come, and a lot of other pop people, like Frankie Grande, Ariana Grande's brother, originated the role of Victor Garber. But also Rosé and Willem from RuPaul's Drag Race they also played Victor Garber. But the casting choices they make are a lot of fun. And because the theater is so small, the staging of it is very creative. There's barely a set. They just have sort of the front of is it the bow of the ship? The pointy front part of the ship.
Yeah, that's the technical term.
Great, I'm glad I knew it. But they also, like, come out into the audience and are singing and dancing and, like, pointing at you and looking at you. Or if you sit in the back, they don't have to point at you. Christina looked alarmed by that. It's a lot of fun to see, and it's very gay. It just is. And Marla Mendel, who starred in it and was one of the co-writers, is about to open a new show in September that I'm really excited about. It's called The Big Gay Jamboree, and it's about a woman who's trapped inside a Golden Age musical, which it just sounds like it was designed for me to go and see it. So I'm a big fan of Marla Mendel this year and everything she does.
Sounds like a fun take on, like, Schmigadoon. Have you seen that?
Surprisingly, I have not.
I think you'd love it.
I think I probably would. I'll get to it someday. It did get canceled.
All these musical shows you've never seen.
You could ask me, have you seen any of the most famous musical shows? And the answer is almost always no. But I will get to them. But yeah, I would recommend that anyone go see Titanique. And it gave me a new appreciation for Celine Dion's songs. Because I knew more of them than I thought. And I enjoyed being sung them. It's like, maybe I won't like that part of it. But no, it hits.
And it's still going?
Yeah,
it's still running?
It was supposed to be a short run, but it's been, I think, like 2 years now, and it's still going with more replacement cast. It's about to open an Australian production of it. That's how good it is.
For all of our Australian listeners.
Mm-hmm. Everyone over in Australia, go grab a ticket to Titanique. Or everyone in the room, I don't care. Just go see it. It's good.
I'd love to. I heard that it's very, very fun. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. That
You're
brings
welcome.
us to, and thank you for being here. Did I mention that? Weird energy in the room today. Keith, bring us back on track here. What do you got?
All right. I got one more recommendation. It is a graphic novel. It is called Bingo Love by T. Franklin. And it was a recommendation by a friend of mine who works at another library. And she knows I'm not a big fan of graphic novels, but she's like, you gotta read this one. And it is very, very bittersweet altogether. The story itself takes place over a span of maybe 50, 60 years. We begin in 1963 with our main characters, Hazel and Maury. They are two people of color, both women, and they meet at a bingo game. And it just so happens that things click. There's some type of energy in the air where they just don't want to be apart from each other. And the love kind of grows from there. They're still really shy with each other, but they know there's something special. And one night they walk home together, and just a quick little kiss goodnight, Maury's mother or grandmother, I forgot which one, saw and flipped. The whole family flips because it's 1963. The times were very, very harsh compared to now, even though times are kind of hard now. But they react in a way that is severe. They decide to pull up the whole family, move down south. We're going to set things right. We're going to get away from this sinner state that they were in. And in a similar way, Hazel's family was the same way. You're embarrassing us. We're going to set things right. Go find yourself a nice husband. So the story starts following Hazel a little bit. She marries a man who was in the Air Force, has 3 kids, and still as she's going through life, she could always picture Maury in her mind when she's doing crafts and dresses. She could imagine her standing in front of her. It was just a beautiful mindset that Hazel never forgot that first love of hers. And then years later, of course, at a bingo place, Maury shows up, after all these years later, she's wondering, did she forget about me? Is there a second chance? And oh my God, there was. And I just read this a few days ago, my second time around. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to tear up. Darn it, where are the tissues? It is absolutely sweet. And it's a very interesting perspective because a lot of the graphic novels I read, it's like, here's their first love. They're getting to know each other, getting to know themselves. When they meet up for the second time, they're already in maybe their late 50s. They're drawn with gray hair. You see the wrinkles coming in. Times have changed, and now we're seeing this perspective of an older couple going through family dynamics that are always changing, and also health that is taking a turn for the worse also in their older age. So it was refreshing to see that, and it actually is a little bit inspiring, like when you find that love of your life, where is it going to take you? What is that future going to look like when we're all old and gray? Is it going to be something like this?
Sounds fascinating.
What a beautiful
Yeah.
story.
I know, I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah. And
Definitely.
realistic.
It
Which
is.
not like romance, but realistic. With the framework of falling in love at bingo, which is crazy.
Hey, she hit the jackpot.
At the bingo?
Yes.
Besides the love? Like they won bingo as well?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, you can't win them all. You can't have
Juba, she won a better prize than bingo could ever
That's true.
give out.
I guess you could look at it that way.
guess so.
Is this a YA graphic novel?
Yes, it is.
All right, nice. Yeah, it's published by Image Comics, which is a big publisher too. So, do you know if we own it, the Sable?
I believe we do, but there also is a jackpot edition, which I would recommend. After the story, there are, I think, 3 more stories that they bring up with different characters, so that was always a good read too.
Side characters from the first story or different characters? Totally?
Completely different.
Oh, cool.
So if you need more of that author's work, definitely recommend that one.
Yeah, I like the art style too.
It is, and the thing I love about the art style is if you look at even the background images throughout everything, you can see the times change as well. It's not just they're in a room, they're in a yard. It's like you can see the remote controls change. You could see the tables change a little bit. From 1963 to, I think it brings us up to 2016, then a little beyond. It's nice to see the evolution of that as well.
Yeah. If you're familiar with like Image Comics, their kind of style, this definitely fits into their style. Like it's very colorful, kind of like sleek sort of graphics or art. So yeah, really cool. Thanks for sharing. Bingo love.
The jackpot edition.
Jackpot edition.
Which still isn't money.
No, they still don't want any.
Doesn't come with free
But
money.
we've won more literature. That's the jackpot. Is reading.
All right, well, those are some great recommendations. Thank you all for sharing, and I hope you'll all join me again. Keith, we'll have to have you back again soon.
Absolutely, I would love to be back.
Thanks.
Thanks.
I'll see you next time
On
Between the Shelves.
Between the Shelves.
Yay.